It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Yes, it's true. The Occasional Film Podcast is in fact alive. I might even go so far as to say alive and kicking. Welcome to episode 101, which is literally a welcome episode and not much more, just enough to create the RSS feed and make sure that all systems are go. But you know, now's as good a time as any to hit that subscribe button, if only to make sure you don't miss a couple of the episodes we've already got in the can. Our first full episode, number 102, is pretty emblematic of what's to come. A terrific conversation with director and writer Jonathan Lynn, focusing primarily on his two best-known films, My Cousin Vinny and Clue. What was the biggest lesson you took away from that directing experience?
The biggest lesson I took away, although I've not always managed to stick to it, is trust my own judgment and don't be over-impressed by what I'm told by studio executives. There are things in Clue that I regret, that I should have changed, and I didn't because I was persuaded by the studio that that's what I should do. And as a first-time director, I assumed they knew what they were talking about. There are various examples of that, but perhaps the most obvious example is the multiple endings, which was a great mistake to release them in separate movie theaters, because the whole point about the multiple endings is the ingenuity of the fact that the story could lead to three different outcomes, all of which made sense and all of which were funny. The film wasn't a success until I put them all together for the video version, and it started being seen on TV.
While not all of our guests will be as high profile as Mr. Lynn, they'll all share one trait in common. They've learned something from the movies, and we're going to find out what it is. Sometimes it might be a literal filmmaking lesson, other times a life lesson which has helped them in some way. And as the title suggests, this will be an occasional film podcast. No regular 9-to-5 grind here, folks. When we've got something to share, we'll pop it out. Otherwise, we'll run silent and run deep. If you like this sort of interview format, more interviews can be found in my books, Fast, Cheap, and Under Control, Lessons Learned from the Greatest Low-Budget Movies of All Time, and its companion book of interviews with screenwriters called Fast, Cheap, and Written That Way. Both books can be found on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, and Apple Books. And while you're there, check out my mystery series of novels about magician Eli Marks and the scrapes he gets into. The entire series, starting with Ambitious Card, can be found in paperback, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook formats, wherever you like to buy books. Well, that's it for the first episode of the Occasional Film Podcast. We'll see you next time with director Jonathan Lynn. The show is produced at Grass Lake Studios with original music by Andy Morantz. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you around.